Okay, I call this meeting to order and would welcome anyone joining us in person or by live stream. Thank you for being here. We have three of our board members here, and Ms. Angie Oliver is excused, and we're hoping that Paul will be here shortly. The purpose of the work session is to receive operational reports from administration. Will begin by the Pocatello Community Charter School annual report, which will be presented by Michael Mendive and Ali Flores.
So I will go first. I was just kind of laughing. My name is Ali Flores, and this is my 17th year as the business manager for Pocatello Community Charter School. And 17 years ago, I didn't need readers. And 15 years ago, and up until about a year ago, I need readers, and I forgot them.
Would you like
so?
I'm the same way. I have them tucked everywhere.
Yeah, I do have.
Thank you. I think my font is big enough, and if I hold it a certain way, I'll be able to get through my short report. You should have received a copy of our fiscal year 23 financial audited statement. We did have a decrease of the general fund of $92,564 from fiscal year 2022. I will explain that decrease to the general fund was covering expenses that have now been billed out to ESSER funds. So I didn't bill out my end of year ESSER until September, kind of last minute. I wanted to wait till the projects were done, so that kind of explains that. Our separate savings account that our board, we put money into every year, is at $424,000, and we are just saving that for future expenses that may occur. Great things that happened last year at our school. We, again, were able to utilize ESSER funds for learning loss to pay for salaries and supplies to run a summer school. Unfortunately, those funds have now gone away, so we will not be having a continuing year, but we did have 3 years of a summer program. We last year were also able to give a 5% cost of living increase to all of our staff. We were able to increase funding for health insurance and pay not just the employees' medical, but also some of our dependents' costs. Last year, we utilized literacy proficiency funds to start a K+ program, because at that time we were running a half-day kindergarten. We got a new meal management system. We started a new emergency contact system called the E3 app. We built an outdoor classroom. We were able to remodel our bathrooms to single stalls, and we revamped our playground, including adding additional playground equipment. For the next school year, or for this current school year that we're in, we were able to give all of our staff salary increases, including all of our classified staff are at a minimum of $15 an hour. So that was a big accomplishment. This year, we also were able to start our first time ever full day kindergarten program. So it's full day for kindergarten. And we added a new position, which has been very helpful, for a behavioral specialist. So that's a new position at our school. The only concerns I have for this year are the same actually as last year. We just have a substitute shortage. There's just not enough to cover when staff are gone. So you just figure out a way to make it work. Does anyone have any questions on the financial portion of our school? Okay.
I'm just curious, how much do you pay the substitutes? I'm just wondering if you, do you know?
Yeah, so we used to have a daily rate of pay and a half-day rate of pay, and we have changed it now to the $15 an hour. So we generally use our educational, every classroom teacher has an educational assistant, so they step up into the teacher role when the teacher's gone, and then if we need a sub for the classified position, then we're subbing for that, and we pay $15 an hour. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I assume you'll be glad when that project in your parking lot is done,
You have no
right?
idea. That project that was going to be done quite a while ago, that project, yes.
I drive by you every day, and I'm just like,
I think I got here at 3:05 today just so I could get out of the parking lot and avoid that mess.
It's the never-ending problem.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of an if it finishes instead of when it finishes. Yeah, I'm
Right.
not positive that it will. No more questions for Ollie? Okay. So for my part, I would say that we were disappointed with our test scores from last year, and I know that we weren't the only ones. It was a statewide thing. It was a disappointment, and so out of our two goals, one of our goals was to improve math at PCCS. One thing I would say is that it also wasn't a one-year plan to improve math at PCCS. So we are contracting with Dr. Bennett at ISU, and he's providing professional development for us. And I mean, I see it being a long-term project for us to improve math. We've always been much stronger in ELA than in math, and so it's been a goal for us. In fact, we kind of set this goal right before COVID, and then COVID kind of threw everything into the fan. And so right now, so this year is kind of going to be our second year getting back on that track, working with Dr. Bennett. So we're really looking forward to that time. We are really excited that last year we were able to accomplish what we called our back to basics goal. So, you know, PCCS, one thing that we're known for is all of those extra things that we do. So the speech festival and passages ceremonies, and then all of the adventure program, the camping, the rock climbing, crossing snow, all of those things. So we were really able to get those things back in place last year, which was great. It was great to have kind of a regular year. Last year was the first time we'd had a regular year in a long time. And so that was fantastic. Also besides working with Dr. Bennett to address our test scores this year, another thing that kind of fell off, and I actually didn't realize to the degree that it had fallen off last year, it was using the interim assessments that are available for the ISATs. We weren't using those as well as we had been prior to COVID. And so we have a plan this year and an expectation for each teacher to give at least 3 interim assessments this year. And so part of that is just the idea that you know, kids need to be familiar with the structure of the test a little bit. You know, when they're looking at something for the first time or haven't seen that structure for a year, I think that it's challenging for them. But then also we get good data from the interim. It's a good tool. I mean, the state provides a solid tool, and it's something that we should use. We shouldn't just be reliant on iStation. So we're going to use that better this year. We are also really excited about the outdoor classroom. It's something that we've been working on forever. When I was hired, it was kind of one of the charges that they gave me, and I've been writing grants for it every single year and being denied every single year, and you know, just turned out, you know, not much good came out of COVID, but those bucks we were able to spend on the outdoor classroom. You know, that's been a goal for the school for a really long time, and it's gorgeous, and it's a great space for teachers to be able to take kids out and do some different learning. And then, you know, there's a lot of art that you can do out there in the outdoor classroom that you can't do in the classroom, in the regular classroom. So, yeah, that's a really great space. Also really excited. Sounds weird, but I'm really excited about the single-user bathrooms. Solves a lot of problems at the school, and so it's already paid dividends as far as just leaving the, you know. I always say ever since we put cameras in schools, all the bad stuff happens in the bathroom, right? And so all of that has just been so much calmer this year. So
it's like an individual water closet, essentially?
So, yep.
Floor to ceiling?
Floor to ceiling.
Floor to ceiling.
Ah, see, been talking about that.
Yeah, 4 walls and a door. Every bathroom is 4 walls and a door. Hand washing basin is outside,
Yeah, I saw that.
right? So it was always outside. So that part didn't change, but we have a much nicer hand washing stations outside, and then every bathroom is 4 walls and a door. So still separated girls and boys side, right? But every bathroom is 4 walls and a door. And then the cameras point right down the hallway at doors. Hard rule, about one in, one out, right? And and it's been nice. You know, one
The
teacher.
bathrooms actually face out into the hallway like the doors do?
There's a hallway that goes. There's a main hallway, and then there's a hallway that goes. There's a hallway that goes down,
Uh-huh.
and so there are doors. There are doors from that hallway, sort of side doors, right?
Oh, I see.
So they go-
you go
so-
in and then there are
Right.
a hallway of doors.
Yeah,
I see.
and then so one teacher can stand in one spot and supervise both rows of bathroom hallways, both hallways, right? They can see the doors, but they can see the hallway for both for both sides, the boy side and the girl side. It's great. Yeah, it's
Tell me about, so the outside classroom, can it be used year-round, or is that just a,
I mean, theoretically, it can be
Literally,
used year-round. It doesn't have walls.
Okay.
So if the snow's blowing, right, then it's probably not going to be too friendly. But
Yeah.
you know, there's plenty of nice days in December and January and February, right? So it can be used. It has power. It has data, so the teachers can go out and put up a projector, right? It's a large space, the size of 2 classrooms actually, with a divider in the middle. So it has like a large garage door in the middle. So we can pull the garage door down and have a class on either side, or open the garage door and have a much larger space where like an entire grade level activity can happen. PTO can have an activity out there. It looks a lot like a park, like you see at the city parks.
very cool.
But
Except
there's
with
no,
the wall in
like,
the middle.
Space heater or anything like that to keep it a little,
There's no space
just
heater.
because it's just
There-
outdoor.
There's no space heater, no. You know, and that might be something that we look at in the future.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
as long as they're wearing the
Right.
They
coat.
know outdoors.
Don't. Fine.
Yeah, our first and second graders last year camped in the snow.
Yeah.
It snowed on them in camping, and yeah. Our 7th and 8th graders intentionally snowshoe into Camp Taylor in January. And
Yeah.
I remember my first year at PCCS, we almost called school. It was like 8 below in town, and I showed up to school and I was like, "Well, we're canceling this trip, right?" The adventure coordinator was like, "No, we're
No.
not canceling the trip. Of course we're not. What are you talking about?" And they went and had a great time. So, we can go do math in the cold every once in a while.
That's great.
So where did you camp on your snowshoeing?
It was Camp Taylor.
Camp Taylor. So
Okay.
in January, every January, our 7th and 8th graders go. So it's right up Scout Mountain.
Scout Mountain.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you've ever been to the Scout Mountain campground, the large Scout
Uh-huh,
Mountain
I have.
campground, it's about 3 turns before there's a little sign on your right, and then you just there's a little road right there.
outdoor tent camping.
So, well, they actually do have cabins. So typically the boys are in the main building, which is a little bit nicer, frankly. I don't know why the boys, but usually there's fewer boys. And so there are cabins, but cabins where you can see daylight through the walls, right? And then there's a little fireplace in there where they can make a little fire, and but they do, they make survival tunnels, right? As long as there's enough snow, as one of the activities that they do while they're up there, and it's
Sounds like they're learning more than some of the people on Alone.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, it's
As a parent,
experiential
I
learning.
never chaperoned for
Yeah.
the Camp Taylor trip, put it that way.
Yeah, it's experiential learning.
Right.
Things that kids remember for the rest of their lives, hopefully.
Yep, for sure.
All right.
Is that it?
Unless you have any questions for me.
Just Dr. Bennett from ISU.
Yeah.
So is he coming and doing kind of like trainings with your teachers?
Yeah, so he's
Okay.
doing PD. So we have him contracted for 4 days of PD this year. We had three days last year
To improve your math scores?
to help with math. Yep. And so he is also working with. We have a new middle school math teacher this year, and so he is. One of his tasks is to helping her specifically to just kind of help develop the program, right? Being a kind of a thinking
Carry it
partner.
forward once she does the PD and then keep it going? Or is that what you mean?
Say that again now.
So when she comes to do the PD, then he makes sure that it's implemented? Is that what you mean?
He does more planning. I mean, it's more my role to make sure it's implemented, right? But he does planning with her and just kind of guiding the development of the program. We changed the program some this year. In the past, they kind of sort of taught 7th, 8th, and 9th grade math sort of all at the same time. So 9th grade for those kids who wanted to high achieve, which is too much. So now our students who want to earn that 9th grade credit are doing it through IDLA. And then she's providing that support after school, extra support for those students after school. And then, so now she's teaching 7th and 8th grade. So, basically 7th grade integrated math, 8th grade integrated math in the classroom. And all of the students are required to take those classes. And then the 8th graders who want to get the 9th grade credit can also do the IDLA 9th grade integrated math.
So it's just 2 years combined, basically, 7th and 8th instead of 7th, 8th, and 9th. I mean, they
Exactly,
can kind
right.
of go as far as they want up to 8th grade. So IDLA allows just the one class?
Yeah,
For them to do the one class?
for them to do the one class. Yep.
Okay, I
Yep.
thought they required a part-time, but they don't?
No, they're able to take just that one class, just that one credit. Yeah, and in fact, they even were willing to do a separate class just for our students, so that way our kids could be in the same class,
Oh, wow.
right? So they would have one, so they'd all have the same
For all those
teacher,
that want to progress
and
and
they
move
could,
on.
and they can work together on their assignments and different things, yeah, so they
I
were.
see. So the people that really are ready to move ahead, do they have a separate classroom where they're just working online?
So they're
Or-
still
they're
they're still
still-
taking the regular 8th grade class,
Okay.
but then they're taking the 9th grade class kind of on their own, but we provide after-school support if they need it.
So the in-class, they're in the.
Yeah, so they have, 4 days a week for an hour after school, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, for an hour after school. Our teacher is available there for them specifically, and she's earning a stipend for being there. So she's on the clock for an hour after school, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh,
So-
I really like that. I think that's really cool. Do you
Yeah.
also have an option for kids that are below the, like the 7th, 8th?
Not a great option, except for that we have an educational assistant in every classroom. So that is
So they
that
could
is the
really
main
just
idea.
Have the help right
Yeah,
there.
yep, exactly. And some of our educational assistants are 30 hours and some are 19. So the 30 hours are all geared towards helping support math too.
And so there's 2 teachers in every math class?
Yep,
But one is an ed assistant, one is the teacher.
Exactly.
certified
Right.
teacher.
exactly. Yep,
Very cool. Thank you.
yeah,
Love the ideas.
okay.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Thanks, Ally.
Absolutely.
you.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda is a revised alternate route to graduation plan, which will be presented by Amy Boy.
It's her birthday again today, so she's 29.
Ah,
29.
Happy birthday.
years old today.
Congratulations.
So we have included in your packet the 2022 alternate route to graduation plan. This is a very minor change, but it's a board-approved plan, so we just wanted you to be aware of it. They changed the interim assessment that he was talking about, the interim ISAT assessments. They changed one of them. They changed the science from it was called the high school engaging in arguments from evidence assessment, and now they changed that interim assessment to grade 11 comprehensive interim. So we clearly needed to change that on the alternate route to graduation form, and we needed to inform you that we changed that on the alternate graduation form. So not a huge change, but So just really for point of information.
Okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next is Jonathan Ball will present the following topics: securing our future grant award, R&M Steel Company metal building donation for the PV Tech, capital improvement programs, project presentation, and ESSER 3 budget review.
Good afternoon, board members. Thank you for your time. I wanted to first start out with some good news, some awards, grants, donations, and so forth. The first is from the State Board of Education, or the Division of School Safety and Security. They, through legislation, had some money for security and safety for our schools. And we applied for all of our schools. The statute was up to 20,000. And so we, through the safety committee, identified that some internal locking hardware would be the best use of this money. And so we had, this actually came through elementary principals as well. So you'll see on that first sheet, again, we were awarded $428,920.95 that we have started already installing. We've started in 2 schools for the amount of hardware that we had. And of course, as soon as we received notice of this award, we've ordered the more hardware, and that's where we're waiting on. There'll be progress reports due. First one is due November 1st, as you see there, that we will make back to the state.
So did we run out of funds? Why are there these 3 schools?
Excellent. I've got notes right there. Thank
Or
you.
they know
So-
they have no hardware?
So 2 things. They actually already had the existing hardware, but then in consultation with Guy Blissner with the School and Safety Security Council, he recommended that we still ask for money for that, and then we'd use that money at other schools. You see, Pocatello High School's whopping $84,000. And I will mention, again, we had the conversation about how many doors should we do this, and we said, no, all lives are of value and of safety, and if in the need, they need to be able to lock these doors. And so all the doors, and so Pocatello High School has a lot of doors. So that's why they're 84. You know, you've got the Franklin Irving around $36,000 for the door, and then Century at even at 32. So the money that we would have gotten for Alameda, Highland, or Hawthorne went to those schools, so we could accomplish the one project for everyone.
You lock it from the inside, but you can unlock it by just opening it. Is that right? You don't have to have a key,
From the inside, yes, not
From
the
the
outside.
inside.
Correct.
but you can lock it and then just unlock it without a key, just opening it.
Correct.
Okay.
From the inside, not the outside, of course.
Okay. And Highlands just remain locked, right? Like when you open the door, then you shut it again, it's still locked?
Correct, and that's
That's
how
all
a
of them
lot
are.
of,
So that's how all of them are?
yeah,
working?
that's
So
it-
it's shut, it's locked?
the intention of how they all should work, yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's for fire safety, right? I mean, you gotta be able to go out that door.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, you can't lock it from the inside. That's correct. Okay.
Still think there needs to be an art project with all these doorknobs.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
sort of sculpture out of all these doorknobs.
Okay. Okay, this next one is for R&M Steel, and this one we've been working on for quite a long time. And so, again, thanks to Ms. Rhonda Naffs and all of her efforts here, Superintendent Howell, myself, Alan Spidell, and our architect, Scott Lloyd. Again, we helped with this donation and go through the plans to make sure this is a building that would fit nicely with our existing PV Tech building, with the aesthetics that we needed. But then also, we're very gracious for their donation as well. And so you'll see at the very bottom of the page, the total amount of the project is around 418, or the building 418,300. And that's just for the building, the braces, the roof. We will be responsible for 60,000, so that is an addition to even the amount that we approved last time. But this is just a pass-through. They actually will order the installation, and then we will pay for that. And so it will fit exactly. But so again, the total donation from R&M Steel is the $358,200.
And do they pay for the construction? I can't remember.
No, so that was in part of the bid, the 7.1, yeah, that was just, really, it's just all the steel, all the metal. So we paid, and that was in the bid that you approved last week, the flat work and the erection of that.
Okay.
So anyway, I wanted to let you know again, we thank R&M Steel, their generous donation there.
What kind of recognition, I mean, do we have to have something on the building? I mean, do they require any?
They do not require, but I think.
I thought they asked not to.
Correct, go ahead.
Essentially, you didn't want any recognition, but as part of like our opening ceremony, we'll provide recognition. I also think it'd be worthwhile in our welding shop to put a sign up that indicates that this space was provided for by R&M Steel, Caldwell, Idaho. Yep.
Okay.
So we'll definitely recognize Rob and Lori for all their work and efforts on our behalf.
Yeah, and it
Yep.
was Lori that even said that this last time we talked to her, just even last week, talking about schedules and so forth, that I want to get in the car and come for a road trip. So, so anyway,
Very cool.
she even said that she has really enjoyed this project. So yes, we definitely appreciate them. The next is kind of what I call our summer project presentation. Again, if you have those in front of you, I've got printout slides, and so you'll see the pictures. You can read the caption, and I appreciate I'll say Alan Spidell for doing this. His part-time job as a photographer as he goes around and taking these, and so I appreciate him. And that's where some of them, are in different phases and so forth. So. Again, our parking lot out here was in dire needed of repair, and so the big section in the middle there was dug out, put in a brand new base, and then put in a new parking lot there. And that was the first 3 slides, if you're keeping up with me there. The other thing in the back was, again, with our long buses, we could not pull the bus in and lift the front, the hood, and shut the garage door. So to work on our longest buses, it required basically to bundle up and kind of freeze out the shop to do that. So this added 14 feet, as you can kind of see just off that side.
4 bays.
The same amount of bays, so yes, 4 bays, correct. And so cinder block, extend the roof. There as well, obviously a new floor, and then all new brand new doors as well, because those are, if you've ever moved a garage door, sometimes those are a little bit finicky, and it was just better to put in a brand new door. And so that's the final picture there. Again, shows the four bays. That last picture is them, finishing that. Kind of that center section. We were able to put a beam at the top, so we were able to take out 2 of the columns of the previous doors that supported that. So anyway, our bus department and especially our mechanics are very appreciative of this. Definitely is made
Looking
there.
forward to winter.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that was good. The next one, I think I just even put these in the way that they were in my picture folder. So Century Concessions, you can see kind of the work out there with foundations. It had to be built up a little bit, so a nice, good flat work. Again, it's a solid building with CMU block and so forth. And then one of the last pictures, again, we couldn't get a purple roof, and so we would rather with just a little accent purple doors, for those the Century
Is this the one they were
Concessions.
talking about last night that didn't, the roof?
Correct. So we're still waiting. Well, I even heard from today. So, but I'm not going to count my chickens until I see the metal on the roof. But I was told that they should start this week on the metal roof. But I know I said that publicly, but I'm still waiting to see if that's really going to happen. Definitely it's a roof, it's waterproof, you know, so there's no water in there.
That's the underlayment for the,
It's the underlayment,
Those are
yes,
right, yeah.
exactly. So it's just the metal panels that we're waiting on. Yeah.
So where that guy in the yellow, is that a team, what's that?
Yes, so that would be the team room, correct. And so we made it big enough that if they needed to put in, well, probably like a four-wheeler or, you know, something they would use around the field or a gator or something like that. So that's a roll-up door. And then the bathroom, the men's and women's are on each side of that concession stand. It is, I mean, I imagine there'll be a lot of patrons. I mean, being up just a little bit, it will be a nice even place to view the activities there.
Cool.
Do you know how many bathroom stalls are in each, the men's and women's? It's okay if you don't.
4 to 6. I can't remember.
Not a big deal, it's just-
So it is.
I think there's 5 in the women and 3 in the men.
So,
Okay.
very good size.
Sure. Yeah. It should be. Thank you.
You're welcome.
From the gallery.
It's a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be, so that's.
Yes. Yeah. And it's.
is this almost exactly the same as the one over here?
It is the exact same.
Okay.
The exact same. Correct. Yep. Same size and everything.
So will we be building one of these at Highland as well, or do they already have one?
They have a smaller version. So up there at the top of the bleachers there on the west side, they have a mainly a concession stand that has restrooms on the side,
Yeah,
and
it
then
looks like about half this.
correct. It is smaller. So
A
we've
lot smaller.
kind of started talks about
Doesn't
that.
it have like the garage to put the,
Correct. There's no team room.
No
That's
team
the main thing they're lacking there. And so we've kind of started those internal discussions of, okay, now that they're using the gateway, how does that figure into it? But yes, something,
Wasn't the gateway more convenient for a team room than going clear up to the top of the stairs?
yes, but I mean, the gateway is further away than, you know, than these two buildings at these other fields. And so that's maybe the downside. But, so we'll keep kind of discussing that
and
if
the
you have any
gateway
thoughts.
can- I mean, the insurance, if we don't want to continue to use it as a sports facility, insurance should pay to restore it if that's what we want to do. If we want to restore it back to classrooms, because that was an insurance,
Sure, yeah.
it was is that right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it should,
I haven't asked that question, but it's really, we just need to see.
are all these questions going to be asked before they do a final amount for how much they will give?
Oh, yeah, so yeah, we'll definitely be thorough through there. And part of it is, okay, what do we see as the future of that gateway building?
Mhm.
And so maybe it needs to stay, maybe it's a team room, maybe it needs to stay as that and help function
Mhm.
there. So anyway, so to answer your question, we're still, you know, discussing that and evaluating that. Again, one of our larger roofs, the Ellis Elementary roof, was redone in the metal, and that is completed. So that'll be a nice addition to that roof.
That's a metal roof?
It is a metal roof, correct. This is another kind of a little one with wrestling. That center section actually was a little a pony wall, as I understand it, and so you kind of had two different layers of two different levels, if you will, of the Hawthorne wrestling room, and so we re-poured that to make it one consistent level.
So that whole half of the basement was basically another level
Correct,
of-
raised up. That is correct. So now they're level there. They did get, on that last picture, they did get new wall mounts, wall pads this year, and then next year they'll get new floor mats. The floor mats there. The next one, again, this was even started a year ago with the Highland baseball. The first one is the old backstop and so forth. The new, and then the new backstop with, before it was just the rubber backstop there against the fence. But now we have a nice wall as well.
Does that block people in the first 3 rows from being able to see?
I need to go sit out there and see.
Just
I sat
curious,
there.
because you look
Okay,
there and
thank
it
you.
looks like you wouldn't be able to see. I don't know, I'm just looking at the picture.
Go ahead.
I went out there and it doesn't, I was worried just, you know, especially because that's where our ADA wheelchair accessible would be. And still,
Right. I mean-
it was fine.
How tall is that wall? It looks like it's 5.5 feet tall.
Oh, no, no.
It's
No.
Not even.
Like those blocks,
4 feet?
those blocks are only
They're
6
not
inches?
1 foot, they're,
No,
oh,
no, no.
they're 6 feet? Oh, 6 inches.
I think at the most 6.
So 1, 2.
So you're about 3.5. It's just basically to protect them, really. So they can still see. I mean, you're not gonna be able to see straight down
Yeah,
if the
I
ball
think
comes to the
it
back
looks
there.
really
But we
good.
needed protection there as well.
It just looks like there's not very many rows on the bleachers.
S-
So,
So again, as Ms. Wilkes mentioned, so behind the bleachers are actually, will be kind of the ADA, that section, and then the parents will actually sit down the third base line and the first base line.
on the lawn, on those sides, or are there bleachers?
There are bleachers there,
I see.
yes. Yep, I did not get a picture of those, but yes, we did add
I'm
bleachers,
not
so.
familiar with that field.
Sure, well, and I know, again, it finished up, was it end of July, and so we got some practice on there. I actually don't know if we had our first game or really not, go
We
ahead.
didn't have a first game, and the reason that they actually wanted, like, picnic tables back behind home plate, and we went with the smaller bleachers, just kind of a hangout. But, we don't have the depth to put big bleachers back there. That space back there is very limited. That's why we went with the sidelines. And so both sidelines have fencing in front of the bleachers, but there's bleachers on both the first sideline, first base and the third base sideline with netting to keep them safe.
And then just curious about the length of that field. When the footprint is, with the footprint of the proposed new build of Highland, will there still be room for a road for exiting out on the side behind? So, between the field and the school, because I think that's pretty important. to
It
not
is, it
close
is.
off any exits.
Correct, so again, next time you go up there, so yes, we maximize the baseball field, but then actually, you'll notice there's a retaining wall.
Well, I saw that.
Yeah, back there, so again, so to allow some of that, traffic, through
So
there.
the footprint, with the footprint, there will still be enough room for that?
Yeah,
Yes.
there's actually grass that was taken away just because of the
Correct.
retaining wall, so it made more room there with that fencing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like there was a lot of jumbled, wasted, junky space
Correct.
over there.
Correct.
I,
Well, and I think that'll come into play, especially as we,
did it not look junky? I mean,
I've
I
not
don't
been up
know.
there in
There was
years.
mounds
High
of
school
dirt
sports.
and anyway.
yeah.
it
I
was
think this
junky.
looks
So yeah, during the
This doesn't
rebuild,
look-
Yeah.
This looks great.
as we get more into those detailed designs,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll definitely make sure, because I think for everything that we've talked about with safety and everything,
Mm-hmm.
having at least access out of there,
Mhm.
whether it be the main
Just a
student
one-way,
access, probably not,
like
but,
A
maybe-
one-way out or something?
or staff and so forth, so.
Is
So
this
in that original design, I'm sorry, Ms. Clark, we had allowed for diagonal parking.
Correct.
To take place along
Yeah.
the brick wall. And so I see that space as being probably double or double plus a little more.
Yeah, it seems like it
Mhm.
would be a good idea to have that maybe
Yeah.
exit only for the main parking
Right,
lot.
other than the
Because
current,
everybody that goes up the hill
yeah.
could be directed that way
Sure.
instead of out that
Yeah.
congested.
And that
I was just
transformer,
curious.
the way it sits right now, but, it kind of blocks some of that, access. But in the new
No, I
design,
thought the transformer was gonna be moved.
yeah, it is. So I think that will
Can
even
just
free
make
up
sure
more
that it
space.
Isn't in
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
way when it's moved.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that is, I guess, just thinking ahead.
Oh, yeah,
we need to
we'll,
Save that space for
Absolutely.
an exit out, because everybody that goes up the hill, it's hundreds, isn't it? Hundreds of cars that go up,
Probably.
and then
Possibly.
they don't have to go through that terrible intersection.
Yeah.
So,
One of two,
yeah, so yeah, as
I
we
mean,
get,
right, don't you think? You worked at Highland.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
That makes sense.
I think it would be huge. People come like a little more gradually in the morning, but after school, boom.
Sure.
It's,
Yeah, and as we see more schematic, detailed designs of Highland, we'll watch that spot, and you will as well, to do that. Again, the final drawing there with the Highland High School, which is Westmark Field. I think that was the name.
Yes.
Okay. Again, you can see the Highland ramp, and then kind of right in front of second base, you'll see the Westmark's logo there, so.
And is this, it's all AstroTurf?
The infield is.
The infield.
So that,
right there with the logo and then. in-
correct, and then the red, kind of the gray dirt
That
there,
was
so.
So,
It'll be great, as we saw at, Lookout Field, this will be the first thing without snow. And it should really help, to get, because this will melt. I'm anxious to watch this and see how fast that melts compared to the grass.
Yeah.
is that what part of the idea of it is?
That's one of the benefits, yes.
No lights, right? This is not a nighttime thing.
This is not a nighttime thing.
But we do have the portable, or we have access, or could rent them, right? If, thought
Sure,
down
anything's
the-
possible.
I saw them down at the wellness,
Yeah, anything's
portable.
possible.
right?
They'll play the varsity first, and there's a lot of southeastern Idaho facilities that don't have lights, and so they'll play varsity first and then play JV until it gets dark. So, the next one is again the turf down on the football field, the soccer field, and so forth. Kind of different things that I just wanted a picture of that black. Again, it's more of a rubberization. They call it an E layer or Cush layer. That is underneath the green carpet there. And so I thought that would be a good picture there. And then this is actually, Travis Bell sent me this picture. As you can see, it was one of their first, I think one of their first assemblies there. Had a drone footage there. I thought that was a nice
It's really cool.
shot there. So again, appreciate connections.
Can I ask you about the underlayment?
Yes.
I heard from someone who is not in the district that cost of doing the bridge, mixing the concrete with
Yes.
was like $100,000.
It was not
And I
that.
don't even know, like, we didn't have a bid, or I just did, I
Correct.
thought, is that true?
It's not true, but
Okay.
you can always ask. So the Hellas Construction searched locally to try to find a place. We found
Oh, so it kind of came under their umbrella?
it did definitely come under there, but of course they
I mean, they
passed
have
that on to
the-
us.
Right,
And it was a lot. It wasn't 100, but it was close. But then through negotiations, they waived all their costs, no markup, nothing. And I actually got the actual bill from the company. And so it cost $62,000 to be able
Oh,
to
so a lot,
fix
quite a
that.
bit less.
Correct. And so that was our cost. And that's what Dr. Hal and I kind of thought, okay, yep, this is fair. And they did a phenomenal job after this, getting it fixed. We missed a couple games, but yet, I think it's
so
a
this
nice
can
thing.
never go back to grass, right? Because it's got cement underneath now.
I'd like to say no, but anything's possible. But
Why would you want it to go back?
yeah,
to
I know.
I'm just wondering, because we're not gonna be board members in 25 years. I don't know if this will be here in 25 years. but
With some, you
I'm
actually,
just curious, like,
to answer your point, there's enough fill there that you'd have to bring in at least 3-4 inches of dirt. So I think grass would be there, but I
if
don't
somebody
anticipate.
in
I don't anticipate in putting it back to grass. Yeah. Okay, lastly, again, just a couple shots. This is one that I didn't get a final shot, unfortunately, but again, through the spring with the Pocatello High School parking lot. Kind of some different phases of what that looked like. I did through my security camera. There's a side of that. They're just a nice addition to the downtown parking lot, or
And
downtown.
they've made those assigned parkings for seniors, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I believe that's
So
how
that
they.
is the final?
Yes, that is the
That's for
final.
your security?
Yeah, that's our security camera.
Okay,
Yep,
because
so
it
that's.
looks kind of cartoony, I wonder.
It is. It's
No, it
it's
looks
the.
good. Looks
That's a
good.
picture of the monitor. So that's how it's a little bit cartoony.
It looks really good.
But yeah, so we did get extra space along Arthur there,
Mm-hmm.
or Garfield. Garfield. Thank you. Along Garfield as well, and so that was that was good.
Extra space for the parking lot?
Correct,
Okay.
because previously you couldn't, with the previous building there, with the driveways, you couldn't park there.
Mm, I see.
Because the entrances and exits are on the side streets,
Mhm.
so you cannot get in the parking lot from that main Garfield.
So it looks like the city is gonna be able to use this for events when
I'm sure they-
school isn't in session.
I
No,
would
the
assume-
farmer's
right?
market,
Yeah.
I mean,
people are there
Have you
Saturday
seen it?
morning.
Have you seen it filled out?
Oh, yeah,
Filled out?
not full, but there are definitely people over.
So like,
going
the
down.
farmer's
Yeah.
market, you think?
So that's a good,
Yep.
yeah, that's a good
Yeah, I've
good
been to the
resource there.
farmer's market, it's a little tricky.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's a question, and
Yes,
I-
please.
this is kind of a little side comment, but in my Rotary Club, it was brought up that, those of us that work downtown in those mornings and afternoons, you've got kids coming from all directions from these different, have we ever been asked or approached or to the city to get some flashing pedestrian lights or, and I know one question come up of whether that, I guess the church there said, if you were to close off that one street just in the morning or the afternoon. I don't know, has that ever come up?
Well, I mean, we
don't-
discussed
I
it
don't know if it's
internally,
open.
but nothing has been pursued or anything, in that regard, so nothing.
Not yet.
And in the morning, it is different, because like we were saying about Highland, it's probably the same with Pokey. Kids arrive a little bit more gradually in the morning,
Correct.
not,
It's still pretty,
Totally
I mean, in the morning though, Arthur is very busy in the morning.
Mhm.
I drive it every
And
morning.
they- and
And
they
you got
do need
kids
to-
standing there on the corner, and not everybody adheres to that.
Oh,
If there's a pedestrian
Yeah,
and the,
and-
sure, we could,
yeah,
know.
and the students also need to have etiquette, be taught.
Oh, yes,
etiquette,
it's
that you
both
don't
ways.
all just trickle, so that the traffic
Stay
is
together.
permanently blocked.
sure.
Get in a group and wait for a minute,
Yeah.
let the cars pass, and then go in a group. That
if
kind
there
of
were a
thing.
light, it might help.
Sure.
That would be so nice, yeah.
And then this next one, and Miss Oliver's isn't here,
To help with it, so.
but this is out at Tyhee. So this is the generator being lifted into place into that corner there, and so that's this operational. So if Tyhee Elementary was ever to lose power, this generator would automatically, it has an automatic transfer switch. And so then it would automatically click on and controls the major systems, the hallway lights. Might not be all of it, but definitely enough to be able to continue education. Even more importantly, this is the only school that's on a well, and so we'll be able to have water and flushing toilets, which is great for elementary. So, it gets energized every Wednesday, and so, it's a natural gas, generator, and so that's a great addition to our school district. So, some of the other things, again, just some words here. Again, we remodeled the old, Technology Service Center across the way from our maintenance department there on Pershing. Call it the Arches Building now. That was remodeled, so we have students in there. We got some freezers in our central kitchen back here. We replaced those decade-old freezers there, and they're enlarged them, and they're very good there. All of the lighting at Gate City was upgraded to the most recent lighting.
So all these are done, right?
Correct, yes, these are all done, correct. Yeah, Wilcox HVAC, they got a new boiler plus HVAC systems. Of course, did carpet at Syringa, several other buildings as well. Same as VCT, we try to do some of that.
What is VCT?
Yeah,
It's the tile.
it's the
Oh,
tile,
okay.
it's the tile.
Oh, yeah, I remember the tile, yeah. I didn't remember VCT, but I remember tile.
Tile, okay.
Luxury, LVT, luxury vinyl tile, vinyl C tile. I don't know what the C stands for. Sorry, I should have.
No, tile, that works. I just don't know what.
Where's Google?
VCT.
Google that for me. Vinyl. It is, yeah, it's a very solid tile. And then also the IT, we call it the ITB building or ITB there by Pocatello High School. That's where the IT department is doing, and they're remodeling there. And then, of course, I couldn't miss, but just a lot of work at Highland High School, of course.
So I have a question about the work at Highland. Did how they had, I guess, I didn't know this, but for years, every time it would rain, the teachers would get out the garbage cans and, I did not know that they had a leaky roof for years.
So, and that's, I've heard that same thing. We
I
even
was
heard it out
somebody
at Century.
Costco and say, they were trying to do like tarps to like funnel it into the garbages.
And this is previously?
Yeah.
Or, okay. So that's something that we always fight, I mean, not fight, but we always look at any storm of, our roofs are good at a slow drizzle or even a long, regular rainstorm. It's these downpours that's when we
Well,
have
yeah,
problems.
I'm actually not talking about the downpour. I'm just talking about, that's what I was told, that it was just anytime it would rain. I'm not sure, I'm sure it wouldn't happen when.
And I've heard that, but I promise I will, since I've heard that a lot since our presentations.
You've heard it other than me.
Yeah, I want to see the actual, I want to see it there.
Because there
We-
was a lady that emailed, I forwarded it to you.
Correct.
I mean, she said she has a lot of pictures. I'm thinking,
Sure.
well, we gotta see the pictures, because I don't really know what she's talking about.
Correct. And I believe,
never
I
seen
talked to
it.
the husband there and
Uh-huh.
there, we do know that there's somebody put some ducting right on the east side of the building.
Mm.
And that has been a problem spot in the basement. We've made some good progress, I mean, a lot of concrete to slope that away.
Is this what our builders and designers were talking about with the sloping? I thought that was on the other side.
It is on the other side, but on whoever put in this ductwork, that's still a challenge there. Again, on regular rainstorms, it's fine, it's just the quantity, when we get a big quantity. So again, our maintenance department, of course, we don't give up, and we will basically, during the construction of the rebuild, we'll look at some of these problems areas and see what we can permanently do to fix. So,
And as far as all the leaking in the gym, I know that that was just a part of the construction of the.
Correct, that was,
The roof
Yep.
construction. But I was wondering, was there any worry about mold since everything got wet from outside all the way through? Was there any worry about anything happening there? Or was it able to be all dry?
so we did catch it really fast there as it came into the gym there. They did play a volleyball game last Thursday? Yeah.
So they were able to finish? it?
Correct, yep, so it was finished and dried, the floor was not ruined, was not destroyed.
Just around the edges, right?
And it was just around the edges, but we had great vacuums on there.
Oh, that's,
Again, Paul Davis did,
uh-huh.
and so,
They
but
just-
yeah, we'll evaluate, but I don't anticipate there being any mold there. Yeah.
Because the roof is now finished, right?
The roof is finished now, correct, it
I
wasn't.
knew it was just a part of the process,
It was,
so.
it just
yeah.
was, yes.
That
Okay.
was-
So that was, and again, big thank you to maintenance, and I threw in, as we start school, transportation, food service, to make sure our facilities and programs, appreciate our administrators, helping with these facilities. And again, all these projects are funded with taxpayer dollars, and so we appreciate our taxpayers doing that. Okay, the last one for me, sorry, I'm taking a little bit more time, is, again, it's a draft copy of our ESSER 3 budget. We have until 9/30 of '24, so almost exact year, to spend these monies in two different pots. One is discretionary, and the other one is still learning loss. So we still have the scope that this has to help reduce or mitigate COVID-19. And so all these projects, or the effects through learning loss of COVID-19.
Can we also apply for our brand-new ELA program to be paid? Because any curriculum would, right?
Absolutely, correct. And so, and you'll notice a big one in that first section is some Chromebook replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been about 5 years since we rolled out, if I remember. It's been about 5 years, I believe. It's 5, 6
Mhm.
years. And so these Chromebooks are at their end of life, and so our technology coordinator, Kevin Chatfield, has money saved up, and then with this money, should be able to, purchase those and so forth. So that's a big,
And that'll replace all of them?
correct.
Secondary.
Oh, yes,
Right,
okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll replace the secondary students there.
I have a question on
Yes,
some
please.
of these, with there being licenses and some of these things.
Yeah.
Seem like they would be things we want to continue.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I point,
That money come from?
I point to Dr. Hal because we've already started those conversations in
Yeah.
our cabinet meeting, yes, because those, we need to evaluate which things do need to continue and how we're gonna pay for them. Obviously, some of these we were paying
Oh,
pre-spring of 2020,
Gotcha.
So-
Okay.
you know, so we'll continue to do that as well.
So I do have a question on that.
Please, go ahead.
Because PCS was here, and they said they use IDLA, which is free.
It's $75 a course.
Oh, so it's not free? Is that, but do the students pay for that? It's $75?
They could use their advanced opportunities money for that, but it is $75 a course.
For, like, middle school? Because when I checked into it, I thought it was free.
We'll double check, Sue just
I-
stepped out,
yeah.
but,
From,
yeah.
from my experience,
Isn't
even,
it the Idaho Virtual Academy?
Idaho Digital Learning Alliance.
Oh, so Idaho Virtual Academy is the one that's free,
Maybe, I don't know about that.
Through the
I was,
state.
when you said
right?
IDLA,
Through the state, it's the free public
Hmm.
education,
okay.
online public education
Yeah.
through the state, right? Okay, so I guess it's two different things.
Okay.
okay.
I'm wondering, instead of using the Apex licenses, can we do something through the state that we can do that where we don't have to pay for those courses? That's
I-
a question
I
I
don't-
guess
I
we
don't
can
know.
research, but I know that there are
And
public
that's,
education.
and I promise we'll definitely do that. Dr. Howell will lead us through that, is okay, because yes, sometimes we got the enhanced
We did that.
version through
We did
COVID,
that.
through these dollars, yeah.
Yeah, we did
And so,
that,
what are the needs versus, here's the resources, how much money we have in the general fund or through title funds.
Can you come up and talk a little bit about Apex versus Idaho Virtual or Idaho
So
Digital?
we did Idaho Virtual
just-
Idaho Virtual Academy, so
just
that's a
get some of
free,
those.
that's
Is there a
free
free
public
version I can-
education.
Correct.
So we did the math through that. So for kids that need to redo a course, can they just sign up for that and then we wouldn't have to pay for the Apex licenses?
No, because they won't, that's considered another public school, and so they collect ADA from that. And they won't let them take one class out of there.
So it has to be a half.
It's 3, isn't it? Don't they have to be 3?
It depends on what grade you're in.
Yeah, okay, so I was thinking oh yeah, you're right. It did have to be part-time. I do remember
Yep.
that now.
Yep, and IDLA is $75 a course. So
Okay.
if we had kids that need to do that,
So is that a better price than Apex?
No.
Okay.
no,
So
we,
Apex
and
is
we
the
did that
better
too,
option.
it's like,
Yeah,
because
so
we use
is
Apex for
better.
summer school,
Mhm.
and by the time we've paid for that, it's almost 3 times the amount if we used IDLA.
Oh, that's
So-
good to know. So the Apex is still the best option.
So far, yes.
Good to know.
And again, we evaluate, you know,
Mhm.
Ms. Pettit will evaluate everything, gets, obviously, that we're really good about getting the most out of our dollars. You know,
Yeah.
looking at the free options, the paid options, and comparing that. So-
Mhm.
I see.
But that's a good point, because yes, we do need to, we'll roll all this back out
And-
in the 100 fund, in the federal funds, in the
Mhm.
capital improvement funds.
Yeah, and I did find that really interesting, what he said about the ninth graders, so can they use their money, their federal?
Yes, they're fast
Money.
forward money. Mhm.
Do we have that opportunity for them where they can really say,
This
you
thing's
know?
really hot.
It is hard. You
Um,
want to use that?
So so we have kids using different things. We have some kids that are doing ninth grade classes as eighth graders through IDLA. We have a couple of doing that. We also have a couple of eighth graders that are going to the high schools to take those classes at the high school, and then they go back down to the middle schools for the rest of the day.
Oh.
So either way
So they just
works. Mm-hmm.
have to provide transportation and, oh, okay. I
And some
didn't
people
know
it works better for IDLA, and some people it works better to be in the class with a teacher.
that. I see. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So again, this is just a draft, and you'll probably see it again through our budgeting process in the spring, as well as with updated numbers. Sorry, that was a little bit long.
Oh, good.
Very good. Okay, so next, the superintendent Howell will present the following board operational principles, strategic goals, and code of ethics, school schedule of board retreat, and the 2024 proposed ISBA resolutions.
Okay, so with the current board, you've all been through this at least one time. And the operating principles, code of ethics, and the strategic goals should all look familiar. And so we will just ask you to review those prior to our meeting next week and offer any insights or contributions, modifications. And so the board will be asked to adopt those for the current school year next week.
And there is no changes, right?
Not unless you have some to propose for next week. You
Okay, I
bet.
didn't see anything
There's already
highlighted.
33.
Okay.
Well, I just didn't see anything highlighted.
Nope,
Sorry.
nothing from us, nothing from administration side. So that's board working documents and certainly dynamic and change with your thoughts and suggestions and proposal. Mhm. Next up, this year, we need to get on our calendar the board self-evaluation. And so Ms. Johnson will email that out to you. And it's essentially an opportunity to reflect on various areas similar to, say, the superintendent instrument for performance evaluation. So, but reflection upon the board and whether you're meeting your goals and just have an opportunity to talk about where we're at and moving forward and again, the reflection piece of the past. And so I just need to know, this week is already pretty busy with your schedule. So last night, we had the Century Public Information meeting on the calendar. Of course, tonight, work session. Tomorrow, we have our student discipline hearings. And then next week, we have regular session. And ahead of that will be My Goal Conference. And so we would have Monday or Wednesday of next week, Thursday. The following week, I think Wednesday, we'll have student hearings on your calendar, and I
Tomorrow?
anticipate at least one. So we have them tomorrow, and then,
2 weeks.
so not next week, it'd be the week after.
All right.
But- So next week, we have Tuesday, probably 4:45, 4:30, somewhere in there.
I need to talk to you about that, I'm thinking probably like 4:30, 4:15.
Yeah.
Earliest.
Okay.
We also have the student rep orientation.
Oh, boy.
Does it
Okay.
fall tomorrow?
No, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday ahead of the regular meeting. And so maybe if we.
Yeah.
So,
So for the board self-evaluation, it seemed like an hour to an hour and a half, give or take.
Yes.
So you want to do it before the regular board meeting, or are you saying? that
I think
something-
we're tied up on Tuesday with the student rep orientation. That takes about, I think we've usually scheduled that at 5, but it's only takes about 15 minutes. Yeah.
I could do Monday,
Okay.
the 16th. Are you guys available?
So we could do Monday, Wednesday,
Wednesday is not good for me in the evening.
okay?
and
I'll be out,
we're talking about next week still.
Yeah,
and I'll be out of town the whole week of the 23rd, so.
So maybe the
So we're looking at Wednesday and Monday?
Or Monday.
Mm.
afternoon.
Monday, the 16th.
and how early would you like to start?
And actually, now that I'm looking, so Wednesday, sorry, Wednesday, I could do it if we started at 3:34. I just have to be someplace by 6.
So we're talking between Monday and Wednesday, and we're talking about 3:30?
Yeah.
Okay,
about
so
that?
Monday I would have Oliver with me. So if you want him with us, I will do Monday, but Wednesday, I think it would be okay.
Okay, let's say Wednesday at 3:30, and Renee will get that instrument out to you, and then
And that's the board,
she'll send an invite
Okay.
for you, yeah, as
Okay.
well. Okay, great. And then my last item is ISBA resolutions. There are 7 this year. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at those yet, but we'll have an opportunity to review these over the next week. And then next week, we'll put it on the agenda again and take any thoughts or suggestions that you have. These are the ones that are voted on, as you'll recall, in the business section of the ISBA conference and meeting in November. I don't remember the dates, about the 3rd week of November in Boise. And so that's where we'll cast our votes for the ballot. You can see various resolutions here. A school accountability suggested that the age change from 16 to 18 unless you have met graduation requirements. The funding formula, there are about 9 principles there that are being proposed that the legislature would be encouraged to follow. Next up, number 3 is open enrollment and building capacity. So this has been pretty wide open, and as we brought this to the board and talked about the policy, and really, to a large extent, we're limited by the number of the staffing. And then also special education programs, likewise. I mean, safely and effectively, there's only so many students that you can have in a classroom with the number of aides and so forth. And so this would just help tie that up a little bit in regards to not being so open-ended is my reading of this.
On number 3?
Yes, yeah. So,
So I have mixed about that, so I guess, well,
okay.
we can talk about it later,
Yeah.
but.
And so, and our staffing is always set, of course, by the beginning of the year. So it's
Right, but all
difficult.
through the summer, if there is a desire for people to go, staff can be moved. That's really, not that big of an issue. Staff moves from school to school all the time.
Mhm.
And so it's.
Do they?
No.
What's that?
Staff moves around that much?
We don't move around too much. In fact, in our projections for the budget, we try to look at our staffing then, because all the hiring takes place the first part of May. And so that's really when we.
Personally, people that move, they.
Yeah, well,
this-
and they may by choice choose
Or
to.
or by choice, or
Yeah.
not by choice.
We've not really administratively moved too many, maybe in
Not
a
you,
grade
probably
level.
maybe past
Mhm.
administration.
Yeah, it's very minimal, I would
Mhm.
say.
Yeah,
But,
it would be still 2 or 3. It would be very small.
So this next year, because of the number of units and I would say the decrease in enrollment in our elementary school, there will be some potential for shuffling. Of
yeah,
course,
there
as
should be
attrition takes
quite a
place
bit.
too, we'll be able to accommodate many through that, but classes.
Will we be able to at all consolidate yet? Are we at that point if we maxed out the buildings that we have? Because it's not gonna get more. We're not gonna have more elementary students, probably. If you look toward the future.
Yeah.
And the trends and
It-
everything, we're not gonna have a dramatic increase.
So that's
Unless
where,
there's a dramatic increase in population.
Exactly.
In which case we can
Right.
move on, because there would be that openness and ability to do that.
right, so
But I
we do
can't
keep
see
an eye
it
on that.
moving here.
And oftentimes, what we'll find is there's not enough to, if we can limit, say, a grade level to 2 classrooms versus 3. If we're, at 60, that's kind of a tough number. Certainly up through 3rd grade, you wouldn't want 30,
No. No.
primary grade
No.
students in one classroom. So again, that's where we have to have some flexibility in
Yeah.
how we
Oh, well,
look at that.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
overcrowd.
yeah,
No, no.
right.
No, that's.
So, but yeah, if
terrible
we had
idea.
3 classes of 15, we wouldn't be able to maintain that.
No,
So-
no, we wouldn't have the money.
Yeah, so 45 would reduce easily to 22, 23
Yeah,
students
and
per
that's a
class.
that's a good amount.
Right,
22.
and I would say that's where we're at, so, at the lowest. And so we always monitor that, and whether it was Mrs. Craney before or Mr. Watson now, yep, we watch that very carefully in the
But
elementaries.
it doesn't drop.
I just think we're a little bit more than our units may reimburse this year, and that's why in that ESSER budget, we actually, I don't think Mr. Balls pointed out, but we actually increased the amount into staffing as loss of learning, because we are kind of overstaffed right now, a little bit.
Uh-huh. And that's not going forward though, right? We're not gonna continue to keep that in our budget?
No,
going
no,
forward?
we wouldn't be able
Okay.
to,
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
yeah,
It
yeah.
would be quite a drop. And then, can you explain, I know you have explained the funding formula before, but what is that one that they're talking about?
So these are just the principles, and basically, there was a couple years ago in the preliminary funding formulas, there were about 2 or 3 of them that came out. And I think the primary focus here is to hold harmless, because some districts could have ended up being shorted. And so in those subsequent revisions, they, we're saying 2 to 3 year projections that will hold you harmless. But then after, that 2 or 3 year period. So
You
it's,
don't get a draw just because you have a fluctuation.
right,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
A minor fluctuation, you won't get penalized for that?
Right, and so we've always had that protection built in on funding. This also calls for based on enrollment rather than attendance.
Oh, we're
And
trying
so,
for that.
yeah, there's the accountability
With the
piece.
same governor.
Right.
He's pretty solid on that.
Very much so. I
I
learned
noticed
that
that.
through his visit here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so the 9 are predictability, adequacy, transparency, stability, and so forth. And so, quality staffing, which would go into, maintaining those salaries. Part of that, I would say, is the stipend that they put in this year, the $62.49, which translated to our staff at about $5,000. I think that's part of it too, continue to fund so that we can recruit and retain. So all those elements are built into those principles, if you will. Yep. And then 5, this is what we have talked to our legislators about for quite some time. The laws were changed in regard to career ladder placement with our career technical teachers. And so they're able to receive that work experience in lieu of the educational experience. And that's what this one would do for school nurses and SLPs.
And this is outside career experience?
Yes, that's what
Not
we're,
within the district?
correct.
moving
In
on.
district and outside work experience.
So it does include
As
in the
professional.
district,
Mhm.
career experience?
Yeah, it would be for both.
Okay.
And then 6 is the legislative priorities, and you can read through those 4. And then finally, the bond and levy election communications. As you know, we have been very deep into this lately. And as Mrs. Fisher always talks to us about those disclosures and how we have to have that on pretty much everything. So this is asking for some flexibility in those communications when you're just making reference or a reminder to not have to include that disclosure every single time on every paper. And as you had pointed out, Mrs. Judy, in that one, could we just put it on one side and say, see reverse side or
As long as we
whatever?
say see reverse side for
Right.
disclosure.
So-
So if you don't say that, then they could say, look at this.
Yeah, right. And so this would be even in reminders, that kind of flexibility. And so those are the 7 that, we'll just move forward as we head to conference in November. And I think that's it for me, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is public and written comment. Written comment was received and is included in the packet for the board information. And we have not received any requests for comment. So that concludes this meeting, and I hereby declare us adjourned.